Welcome into another Talking Fitchburg update. Today I'm joined by the Chief of Police, Chad Brecklin. Chad, welcome back to the Talking Fitchburg set. Definitely different circumstances here as we continue to learn more about the COVID-19, the response, the city's response. I appreciate you taking the time. I realize
absolutely.
you are very busy, but we also wanted to get out there. You guys had posted up some information, kind of how you're moving forward. So we'll try to take this piece by piece.
Sure.
The best that you can. But overall, if you could just give us an update on where is the Fitchburg Police Department sitting as of today, March 18th, which we are trying to do our best to say when we were putting these out because it's very important as things change.
Yeah, you do raise a good point that with all the facts and information that's being presented to all of us, both nationally, state level, local level, decisions that are being made with the best information available at the time. And, 2 hours from now or 2 days from now, the decisions that we've made now may need to be adjusted based upon new information and those sorts of things. So, yes, I'm glad you certainly bring it up that we are talking about the here and now. Clearly, the police department has been very busy at least the last week as this pandemic was declared and emergency declarations were declared in the state of Wisconsin, working with primarily our local partners, our county partners, and our state partners, but certainly staying abreast of what's happening nationally and through the world as well through various sources. To try to prepare the best that we can for COVID and its potential impacts for the Fitchburg community and also for its impacts on city government operations and the operations of the police department more specifically. Yeah,
you guys have modified some of your services. And Chief, I'm not going to ask you to remember them all the top of your head here, but we will put these up through Facebook as where we're going to share this information. But let's go through these, starting with the all non-emergency calls for service will be evaluated.
Yeah, so what our staff is going to be doing is if it's a non-emergency call that obviously is likely not going to require the presence of a physical presence of a Fitchburg officer, we're going to make a phone call to the complainant or the caller, try to get more information and determine to what extent we're able to handle the entire call or incident over the phone. Or in some situations, we may even use email to help communicate. Obviously, those are all in situations to minimize the potential for exposure of our staff or the potential exposure of those we are interacting with to COVID-19.
Yeah, and again, it's about taking the precautions right now. You would provide as much as you could if you could.
Right.
But again, on the day-to-day operations here, we're modifying through these things. Will we notice any differences out on the street, out on patrol? What will be some changes in that regard?
So if you do see an officer in our community interacting with someone, obviously there are still going to be plenty of police calls that are going to require the physical presence of an officer. The officer obviously is going to try to use social distancing practices the best that they can. They may ask to speak with someone on the front porch of their residence or outside of their residence or in a more open area, trying to minimize contact in closed or confined spaces and also any contact within 6 feet. Obviously, by the mere nature of our work, there are times where we are going to have to be within 6 feet of folks. And again, we're just asking officers to be cognizant of any potential symptoms that people they are dealing with or interacting with are exhibiting. We've obviously provided personal protective equipment for our staff. So it is possible that, depending upon what they're observing or what information they may have, they could have that PPE on them as they're interacting with folks. While I don't envision that that's likely to happen, it's certainly a possibility based upon the rapidly increasing number of cases locally and nationally.
Chief, we've had a lot of mass buying, mass groups getting together and stuff. A lot of closures, a lot of stuff. As we move through this and keeping in an orderly fashion and doing those things. What do you guys do to put a plan together? And I know you're not going to say it and tell me your exact plan here, but as we're working through this again day to day and keeping order, certainly top priority is keep everybody safe, get the information out there. But I think it's something that I've been asked, and I'm like, boy, I haven't really thought about it. We're just trying to set our plans here.
Right. So obviously we've been further developing our continuity of operations planning processes for both our patrol operations, but also we staff a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week dispatch center. So those things have been first and foremost to get implemented. But let's be honest, our first priority is the safety of the community, and we're going to be there for the community 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. You're going to see a Fitchburg police officer if you need one. And we're going to try to continue to maintain our visibility in the community. We know that these are uncertain times for folks, and for a lot of folks, I do believe that the physical presence of a police car in your neighborhood can be reassuring. I obviously recognize that in other circumstances that may not always be the case, but considering the situation that we're facing now with more and more establishments being closed to the public, more and more folks are going to be home, and streets are going to be much more isolated, and I think that presence of a police officer can potentially help calm some feelings there. We have closed our lobby, our access to the city, to the public, but that doesn't mean that we're unavailable. We can be reached by phone at 270-4300. If you need records requests, we have the ability to request those online through a web link, or also we have a direct line into our records department. It may obviously take us a little bit longer to process that request than usual, so we ask for patience, but there have been other services that we've suspended as well, our ride-along program, our fingerprinting services, our live trap service, and our access to our med drop box. So that we know that there are some inconveniences out there without a doubt, but by all means, we want to make sure that we're being appropriately cautious.
Are you keeping up to, obviously the state has a lot of moving parts, but do you keep up as a police department listening to what's happening across the U.S. and best practices that they're seeing? How has that been playing into some of the decision making you're doing?
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot of information, a lot of resources. Some things that we're using in the police department, obviously we're staying connected with our local and county emergency management partners and also the state management office, emergency management office. But the Department of Health Services, I believe it's called in Wisconsin, they have an updated website every afternoon as far as the number of cases in Wisconsin by county. So we're staying in touch with that. Johns Hopkins University also has a worldwide mapping of confirmed cases by country, which also breaks it down by state in the United States. So that's been also helpful information for us to kind of keep a handle on how quickly things may be spreading. There are a lot of resources out there, whether it's from state-level resources or the CDC, some police associations or police chief associations that we're a part of. They're also sharing a lot of guidance and information out there. So we're using all of the available resources that we have to us to collect that information, collect how we should be responding, see what others are doing, and making adjustments as necessary.
Yeah, I think it makes me feel a little bit better. If I was a resident here, I would, I'd want to know behind the scenes that we're looking just outside of not just this area, but we're trying. Again, so many moving parts to this.
There are a lot, but we're taking it seriously, and we would encourage the community to take it seriously as well. It's unprecedented times right now. I've not seen, and I think it was stated that this is the first time an emergency declaration has been declared for the state of Wisconsin for a health situation. So I do think that it's important for people to take the precautions that have been advised very seriously and try to do what we can to minimize the exposure and to do what we can to help mitigate the effects on the healthcare system and not overwhelm it.
Finally, Chad, I think back to some of the interviews we've done in the past. And you're just going to know these are buzzwords. You're just going to jump on me on this. I know it, but the see something, say something, certainly. But you communicated a message here, and I love this at the end here. Please be patient, be kind, stay healthy, and stay safe. But you talked about making sure you know your neighbors, make sure you. A message from you again that you would share with the community that this could be the time to really come together. Yeah. Even though we may not be able to stand next to each other, that doesn't stop that openness. Would you still encourage?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, keeping social distancing in mind and again, following the recommendations that have been provided from a health standpoint, keeping all that stuff first and foremost. This is an opportunity for us to come together as a community, a county, a state, a nation, and take care of one another and make sure that we are all safe and that we are all getting our needs cared for or taken care of. And if you do need emergency services, call us. We're here. We'll certainly try to provide at the police department level whatever service that we can provide. And if we can direct you to additional resources, we'll certainly do that as well.
270-4300, that's the number, the non-emergency number. You got questions, the officers are here. You heard it here first from the chief. And 911 still if it's an emergency, again, don't hesitate. And again, we're taking it day by day. Chief, I appreciate the time as always. Tell everybody to stay safe out there from here at Fact TV, and we'll get you back on here when you have more updates for us.
Will do. Thanks for having us on and getting the information out.
Appreciate it. That's Chad Brecklin, your chief of police here for Fitchburg, City of Fitchburg Police Department. We'll again continue to provide updates as they come in, so we appreciate you staying tuned and sticking with us as we continue through this crazy time.